All right. So I don't know if I'm ever going to actually publish this video, but given my current situation, I feel like I need to do this video for two reasons. The first being that I just need to get it off my chest, and that's a lot of yellow tone. Wonder if I can fix that in post. Screw it. One, I need to get it off my chest, and two, I have a feeling that if I follow through with what I want to do, there may come a time when what I'm about to tell you will be relevant. I don't know if that doesn't make any sense right now. Stick with me. So today is February 28th. Let's see if I can do this without the computer seeing my face. I don't know, can you guys see that? Looks backwards to me, hopefully it's right ways to you. Sunday, February 28th. Today is the day that my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, moved out. I'm sitting in an apartment in a little bit of disarray, right? Used to be a kitchen table there. Used to be a couch here. Used to be a TV where my laptop currently is. Nice 55-inch 4K TV. I'm not mad about it not being here, so I keep looking at myself. I should be looking here, talking to you. We'll get to that. That's irrelevant. But this is the situation I find myself in. So she moved all of her stuff out today, right? So we're dealing with a breakup, a loss of a relationship, right? She also took, she didn't take, right? Our baby daughter went with her, obviously. She's her mother. And I just, movies and stories and fables, right? Okay, they all traditionally have something called an inciting incident. A moment in the story that's the catalyst for the rest of the story to happen. You know, in a movie, you usually get about 20 minutes of structure, and then it happens, unless you're Tarantino, and then it can be anywhere. And I feel like today is my inciting incident. What does that mean? Well, in my past, for those that know me, or if you know me, then you don't need to hear this part of the story, but for those that don't know me, I'm 36 years old right now. I've had what I feel is my fair share of relationships in my life. And when you go through a breakup, I feel like every single person has their own way of sort of coping with it, processing it, dealing with it, right? So that you can be okay at the end. So for me, when I was younger, like when I was a teenager and into my mid-20s, I made movies, right? I love movies. I'm a huge movie buff. And I always wanted to be a filmmaker for sure. And so that's what I would do, right? That was like my hobby when I was young. I made movies when I didn't break up with girls, or when girls broke up with me. Had to put too fine a point on it. But I made movies for like when I felt like significant relationships ended. And there were 3 movies that I made to help deal with that. And I would write, they're all fictional stories based on realities that I lived through. And I wrote characters and they dealt with them. And that's how I kind of like processed my emotions, right? I made a movie. And now I could do that again, I suppose. But I feel like the loss of this relationship is compacted by a whole lot of other negative things in my life. It's not just the loss of the relationship that I'm going through. There's so much other stuff that has happened. 2020 itself, obviously, the entire world felt that. And I mean, it's February 28th, 2021. We're still feeling it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to publish this. So whenever I do, who knows the state of the world then? I hope things are better, but I don't know. So there's everything that has happened in terms of the pandemic and the way it's affected me personally, and then the loss of the relationship and, other things in my life. that I could just write a script and try to get a hold of my friends. But like I said, I'm 36 years old. Everybody that I made movies with when I was younger is about the same age as me, give or take a couple years. And as much fun as that would be, I feel like that would be too samey for what I've done. And if I'm really thinking about it, as much as making those movies helped me at the time, they clearly didn't put me on a better path in my life. They just were a solution for that one problem. And then I continued on. Met the next person I would have a relationship with that would be great for however long it would be great for. And then it would go to shit, we would break up, and I'd make another movie. So I don't want to do that. But I still love making movies. I still love filming. I still love being able to talk to people in a disconnected, connected world. I mean, that kind of means something, right? Right now, we are very disconnected because of quarantines and lockdowns and everything that's happening because of COVID-19. But we're also still very connected because the internet. Like, that's never going to go away. That is a thing. If you're watching this, the internet exists. If you're not watching this, it's completely irrelevant. So I still wanted to do something in that vein. That's what I know. Okay, but I can't just film my day to day. I don't want to just do traditional vlogs. I think that's kind of silly. You know, we broke up. I'm now in an empty apartment. I'm gonna stay here. By choice, mind you. I'm staying here by choice to try to process these emotions. Hopefully this will all become clear as we continue this conversation as to why I'm doing that. I could very easily be at my parents' house, you know, in a bed and comfortable and around loved ones, but I'm choosing to stay here for now to process this. But anyway, so I don't want to just do traditional vlogs because that's kind of boring. You're going to watch me live at my parents' house and mope around and try and get a job. Come around to that. No, I need a big change in my life, right? And I've been toying around with, for the last few weeks, van life. It's a huge craze right now. I don't know if craze is the right word, because it's a lifestyle choice. It really is. And I haven't had anybody in my life poo-poo it as of February 28th, 2021. Nobody said don't do that. Everybody's kind of been curious or super optimistic and very supportive of the idea. But it was only a thought until now. And now I'm sitting in this apartment and I'm, you know, doing the traditional bachelor stuff like this. Where is it? This was my dinner, right? It was nachos and what's left of a 6-layer dip. And I have a whiskey somewhere, probably over there. Oh, it needs to be refilled. And I'm watching Amazon Prime Video on my laptop where that 55-inch TV used to be. And I'm sitting on my computer chair, not a couch. Right? That's pretty minimalist. And I'm okay. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll break down and start sobbing uncontrollably, but I don't think so. The bed is gone, right? I'm using a air mattress that I use for camping set up upstairs, and that's what I'll sleep on. And I think I'll be fine. And so it got me thinking, if I'm okay with that right here, why couldn't I be okay with that in a van? Because that's kind of everything I've ever wanted. And hopefully you're watching this video and you already have an introduction and an idea of what I'm doing. If I never did it, you wouldn't be seeing this video anyway, so there's that. And my whole idea is that life is just, there's so much negativity in life. So much. It can come at you from every angle. And if I've done my, I want to say done my due diligence, but that's not right. If I've done what I've done what I've set out to do, I've probably spoken to you a lot about negativity and positivity, because that's where I'm falling a lot right now, is negativity and positivity in your life. And I just had so much of it. So I've probably skirted around the issues about my actual negative stuff that was in my life, but I feel like I probably need to lay everything out there just so you understand. So my job is I worked for Lifetouch Canada. Now, whether you're in America or Canada, you've probably heard of Lifetouch. They're pretty big in the school photography business. And I had been with them for 8 years. I was a photographer for like the first 6, years. And in the last 2, I actually moved into a sales position in the yearbook department. Never thought I'd see myself there. Loved it when I got there. And I had a great time like seizing that role. A school would sign a contract with me to do yearbooks with LifeTouch, and then I would be the go-to person that what we would call a yearbook advisor, whoever the school would choose, could be a teacher, a parent, a student, whoever. They became a yearbook advisor. They would build the yearbook. We provide them the software, and I would basically be their support system. And that's the part I really loved, was the customer service side. I was always available, working with multiple schools to help them from everything from designing their covers to putting the finishing touches on the pages. Whatever, it's a job. I don't need to go into too much detail about that. The pandemic hit. We were all told we were gonna be okay. We're gonna be affected. Obviously, everybody was affected. But we were okay when it first happened, right? So where I am in Canada, pandemic kind of like kicked off in March of 2020. And we were fine through till about November. And then the company released a statement saying, okay, in Canada, every sales employee needs to pick a week in this time frame, and it was like beginning of November, like middle of November till the end of December. You all need to pick 1 week in that time frame to take 1 week furlough, so like unpaid vacation, right? So okay, we don't have a choice, we have to do this. And it's because of the pandemic, so they're trying to recoup losses. Because when the pandemic hit, homeschooling started, photo sales went down. Totally understand that. So obviously there were meetings and concerns, and everybody brought up their questions to the managers. And it was said, okay, so you're taking this week furlough, unpaid, but with everybody in the entire company, Canada-wide doing this, you'll be fine. Nobody will have to lose their jobs. So we did that. I took mine a week in November. It was all good and went back to work. That lasted until January 22nd, when LifeTouch cut 800 jobs North America wide, like not just Canada, but Canada and the United States, 800 jobs. And because I was still so new in the yearbooks, I was on the chopping block. COVID, right? Like whatever. They're gonna give whatever reasons they want. They said it was restructuring. No, it was, okay, fine, you're restructuring because of the pandemic. Like, let's get serious. But it's really shitty that you make us take that week off and say no one else will have to lose their jobs. Because there were cuts as well around that furlough time. Other people in other departments did get fired. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so I lost my job. So did, I'm assuming, thousands, if not millions of other people across the globe lost their jobs due to the pandemic. Yes. But that's another negative mark for me. Now I'm just like, okay, I'm shut in. I've lost my job. What else is gonna happen? Now I can't just say, oh, the girlfriend and I are gonna break up. Like, nothing's ever that simple. Nobody just breaks up overnight. If you did, you didn't love each other anyway. Ours was a long time coming, and I'm not gonna go into too much personal detail. I don't think that's fair, because the truth is, I can sit here and say whatever I'm going to say to you, and I'm not so ignorant to think that you need to take me at face value. Every conflict between two people, there's two sides to that story. Every time, right? There's no way around that. Whatever I say is going to be able to be said from my ex-partner in a similar way, but from her point of view. And who's right, who's wrong, who knows? This was so messy and so gray. It's not like nobody cheated on anybody. It wasn't like, oh, I'm leaving you because you slept with that person. No, it's like, and that's black and white, and that's the reason why. No, this is so convoluted. And it was so negative. And, the pandemic played into it a lot. Differing views on the world played into it a lot. Betrayal from other family members was a huge part. But ultimately, it had to end with us breaking up. And we kind of made that realization over the course of about 3 weeks. We probably knew it for a lot longer before then. But you have a kid, and you try to stay together, right? You try to stay positive. And that's what I'm really talking to you about, is that we have a kid together, right? And so I'm terrified. Like, I don't know what she's going to do. Our biggest problem was communication. Biggest problem was communication, in my opinion. So when you have an idea in your head that, okay, we're going to break up, but we have a kid, what is going to happen? I'm going to miss my kid. I'm going to miss my kid because I've been with her since the day she was born, pretty much 24/7 because we were working from home. Then I lost my job and I'm here and now I don't have to work, right? So that's scary to like not be able to, like to think that you're not going to be able to see your kid every day. And it's also scary because you're not communicating. You don't know what that other person's capable of, right? I always try to approach conflict with a rational mind. It doesn't always happen. Come on. But in this case, I had given it a lot of thought. And we had a fallout. Something happened. You know, there was an inciting incident for the fight that we had. And eventually through that dialogue of that incident, we found ourselves talking about separating. And I had an idea in my head, look, and I presented to her. And this is what I'm really making this video about, is so you know this. I said, in very plain terms, I would want to do 50-50, right? I would want our daughter to spend 50% of her time with you, 50% of her time with me, wherever we're living, right? I would want her to feel like when she's with you, she's at home, and when she's with me, she's at home, and she can have, you know, 2 homes. She's young enough, at the time she was 9 months old. She's young enough that she would adapt to that. This is what I was thinking in my head, right? And I didn't say that it needs to be 1 week with you, 1 week with me. She's young, right? She still needs to be with her mother. I had done my due diligence. I had looked stuff up online, and I had found other patterns of how you can do 50-50, like 2, 2, and 3. And I said, I think that's fine. And I had, you know, not to like pick at anything, it's 2021, everybody looks everything up online. So I too had looked up stuff online that had said it is more than fine for a 9-month-old to be away from their mother and stay with their father overnight. And I thought, okay, so she could have time with me, 50-50. And in my head, I'm like thinking, that'll be good because she's a mom, and as much as she loves her daughter, she still needs a little bit of, she needs a break. So like 2 days would be a good break. I'm sure at the beginning, she'd be pulling her hair out. She's a new mom. Of course she'd be missing her kid, and probably more than me, right? So anyways, that was my push, and immediately she shut that down. No 50-50. She was a big believer in our daughter having one home to grow up in. She said I could come in and visit, and I could take her out for the day as long as she came back at night and she slept there. She doesn't need to sleep over wherever I am. So initially I did try to reason with her and be like, look, this is what I really want. I really just want 50-50. And I did. I kind of pleaded with it and stayed calm. I didn't get angry. And just said, this is what I want. I want 50-50, and I really think you should go for it because I have a lot of rights in this way. I didn't want to go say, oh, well, we're going to have to get legal action and all this BS involved. But of course I was up in arms, so I was trying to not be, I wasn't being angry, but I was just saying, I really think you should consider 50-50. But anyways, separated, we didn't separate then. This was 3 weeks ago. Cooled off, like, you know, I went for a 7-kilometer walk. I came home. She went to see her friend for like 2 hours. And a couple days went by, and then she presented me with this option of, you know, co-parenting nesting. And I don't know if you've heard of it. Essentially, the idea is you both share one home, and then mom's there 50% of the time, and then leaves, and dad comes in, and he's there 50% of the time. And then you're supposed to have like this satellite home. At the beginning, it would be she would go to her friends, I'd go to my parents. We're not going to get into the specifics and the details because, again, it gets very gray with the pandemic and views of the world. I didn't like that idea. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay for a place that I'm not living at full time. And this is when the van life stuff it's kind of started in my head. Because honestly, I was mad. I was mad that she didn't go for 50-50. Like, I presented it very reasonably, but she just shut it down. She was like, absolutely not. She shut it down. I was mad. I'm like, I'm gonna fight for it. I'm gonna fight for it. And then I kind of realized how empty I was inside, how empty feeling I was inside, how sad I was, how everything was compressing down on me. The pandemic, the loss of my job, the inevitable breakup from this girl I'd been with for the last 5 years. And not only just this girl I'd been with, which was like all my other previous relationships where I had made movies to get over them. This was a girl I had a kid with. I rationalized out in my head, I need to focus on myself. There's too much negativity, and if I fight with the mother of my child to get 50-50, that is just putting more negativity into both of our lives. And I really do want the best for our kid. And I do see the benefit of her having one house to grow up in. Absolutely. You'd have to be ignorant and stupid to not at least see that as a good thing. I still believe that since she's so young, she could have just as good 50-50, right? Mom's place, my place, mom's place, my place, whatever. But yeah, I needed to course correct my life. I mean, and also debt, mountains and mountains of debt. It just seems to be the thing with life these days, right? So there's that. I knew I couldn't afford to do that co-parenting, nesting, back and forth thing. So I said, no, I'm not interested in that, and I've given it some thought. I'm not gonna fight you on the 50-50. I just wanna be able to see my daughter once in a while. And she went for that. Good, I'm glad. She's a very reasonable person. She wants what's best for our daughter, and that's great. And she was very open and honest about being like, open door policy, come see the kid. Then she got a little weird, but we won't go into that. But everything was fine up until now. And then we had to live under the same roof for like 3 weeks and act normal around the baby, which we did. And like a couple of gunslingers when she was asleep is the best way I can describe it. At least that's how I felt. And I, put myself out there and whatnot. It doesn't matter. That's all icky relationship stuff. The point of this whole video is, if anybody has begun to poo-poo my lifestyle choice or try to say that I shouldn't be living in a van and I should get a job and get a place to live. If I'm living in a van, I've got a place to live. I know I have to get a job. Living in a van doesn't prevent you from getting a job. And third, but what should really be number one, is I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, that's the whole thing. I hope I've made that clear on my channel before. Your opinion of how I should live my life doesn't matter. Anyone out there that thinks what I'm doing is the wrong way of living, you're wrong. Everyone is allowed to live their life however they want to live. And I can still support my daughter living in a van. You have to remember, if your thought is, when she's with you, where do you go? Well, the mother said that it's an open door policy. So if mom's at work and I have to take care of the baby, we can be at her house if we need to be. If it's spring, summer, fall, we could be anywhere outside doing whatever we want. COVID or not, we don't have to be around people. We could go out to the backcountry and hang out for the day, and I can bring her back to her house. That's what her mother laid out. That's what she wanted. I offered 50-50, and I was shut down. So nobody can tell me that what I'm doing with my life is wrong. Well, we did it. Survived the first night and survived the first day. It's about 5:30 on March 1st, so we have officially been separated for a day. Separated, broken up. Although it doesn't really feel like it because I did get to see my daughter today in the morning. They came over here because baby mama had to get some more of her stuff. So she packed that out of here. Baby hung out with me. We went to the store, we loaded them up with baby food, diapers, and formula. So now they are set over there. So I guess I haven't really had time to process everything properly. I wasn't even gonna do another video. The one I did yesterday, my inciting incident video was just gonna be it, and I was just gonna keep that in my back pocket if I ever felt I needed to throw it out there. But two things. Again, watching that video over, I realized that I started by saying, oh, this is my inciting incident. And I used to make movies when relationships of mine would end, and that was my way of processing. And I never really circled back to that to explain it. So that's the first one I want to kind of clarify here. And then the second reason is I thought maybe it'd be kind of cool if I had a little mini series of these videos to show you like the making of my van life. So let's talk about some of that stuff. First of all, the inciting incident thing is, instead of me making a fictional movie, I'm doing the Van Life Plus Movies channel. If that's what I ended up calling it. I guess I could cut this out if I don't like it. So that was the inciting incident to start, like, you could call it like, it's like the movie of my life, I guess, essentially. I know I said I didn't want to do vlogs, but that's essentially what they are. They're vlogs, whether they'll be daily or weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, I have no idea. But yeah, so yesterday was the inciting incident that just catapults the rest of my life towards better, more positive things, hopefully. And then as for today, we actually ended up getting some goodies for the van. That's pretty good. So I picked up a couple things just to kind of stay motivated. Like, there's no van yet, although funny, I found one, test drove it, and it's actually the lot, it's a used car lot that has it. They are letting me take it to my mechanic tomorrow to get a 77-point inspection done. Now, it's not a fancy van, it's old, it's a 2007, it's a 2007 Chevy Express 2500 extended. 177,000 kilometers on it, so that's good mileage for the year. I test drove it twice. I didn't notice anything hugely out of place, but if it's gonna be my home, even though I'll have more money, because I won't be paying rent and, you know, bills, regular utilities, I'll have more money to be putting into it should stuff go wrong, and it inevitably will. That's just part of owning any vehicle. I would like to have a little bit of confidence in the purchase off the hop. Like, if you can tell, if he tells me, oh, like, it's gonna need brakes in a little bit, fine. But he's like, oh no, this engine's about to explode. Well, then I'll figure out how much a new Chevy engine costs and make a call from there. But anyways, so that's cool. It's going into my mechanic tomorrow. $150 for the 77-point inspection, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. Peace of mind, that's what I was looking for, not confidence, peace of mind. But anyway, so to like stay focused and try to not, you know, suffer emotionally too much today, I went out to get some stuff. So I picked myself up a Jetboil. Can you see that? Yeah, Flash Java. For kind of two reasons. I mean, when she moved all of her stuff out yesterday, she took the coffee maker, right? Again, I said, take it, I don't have use for it. And then I woke up this morning and I didn't have coffee. So that's my fault. So I was just gonna go out and get like a French press or something, but then I started thinking, I'm like, well, I'm gonna need something in the van to make coffee with. And I had heard that Jetboils were awesome. So I picked up this guy and a 450 gram fuel container for it. So maybe we'll be using it tomorrow morning for sure. Maybe if I get bored tonight, I'll fire it up just to see. So that's good. So that kind of solves my coffee issue in the van, and tomorrow morning and going forward, depending on how many days I'm here in this apartment. Also, the girl at the store said that she has one, she loves it, and she's actually made popcorn in it as well. So that's cool. There's probably a whole mess of stuff on YouTube about like Jetboil recipes. So I'm interested to look that stuff up. So that's what I got for myself today. And then also I got some very cool little gadgets from my father. My dad has been incredibly supportive of the idea for van life. So much so that he's on board that it's like, it's happening. Like, everything that he's given me here, he's like, for your adventures in the van, right? Because he finds it very interesting. I've sent him some videos that sort of inspired me to get into it. And he's watched them and he has never had a negative reaction to it, which is awesome. So Dad, I love you. Thank you so very much for being as supportive as you have been, and I'm sure will be going forward. It means the world to me. That being said, my mother has been extremely supportive as well. So I'm lucky. And I know not everybody out there will have supportive family and friends. A lot more often, I think you're going to run into people that will scoff at the idea of living in a van because it has like negative connotations on it, like you're homeless, which if you're living in it, you're not homeless, that's your home. But anyway, we don't need to get into that right now. But I do understand not everybody out there will be as supportive. I do know I am extremely lucky to have the support that I do. So let's get to it. First things first, this guy. Light, flashlight. It's essentially just a flashlight. I didn't own a flashlight except for, you turn the flashlight on your phone. Stella. Sorry, she's taking some frustration out on the cat post. I never had a flashlight except for the one on my phone. And so he picked this bad boy up for me. It's max 1800 lumens. And I mean, it's a twofer, right? So the actual flashlight is right here. I'm not doing like a full gear reviews or anything like that, just showing off the first few items that I will have in my van. So this guy, it's just regular flashlight. Sorry, I don't want to flash that at you. Or you can just bang it out and it's crazy, 1800 lumens. This is probably going to be, in one sense, it's great to have a flashlight, right? So I can see around when it's dark. And it also kind of functions as one of those items that you hope you never have to use it that way, but you hit this 1800 lumens in somebody's face that's coming at you, that's going to disorient them so much, it's probably way more effective than any other sort of weapon I would ever have in the van. So that is cool. I love that. Two more things here. Now I already have a knife, but he went out and got me this guy. And it's in the same color as my truck. So I don't know if I've ever talked about the Tacoma, but 3 days ago, my ride was a 2018 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road access cab long box. And I love that truck. I had it since new. I drove it to Seattle and back, Chicago and back, never had a problem. Hated to see it go, but it was all part of the process of separating. We were co-signed on it. I couldn't afford it anyway. I had lost my job, right? But yeah, I sold it. I put it up on Kijiji, Craigslist. Within 5 minutes of that ad going live, I had about 5 people phoned me and 10 people messaged me. It was insane. And I ended up selling it for like $3,100. I owed $32 on it. And I probably could have gotten more for sure, but it was kind of like we just wanted it to be done and gone and over with, less stress. But those trucks are gold mines, so if you can get your hands on one, I highly recommend it. But anyways, it was an Inferno, like that was the color, so my truck was orange. So that's really cool that this knife is orange, and it's just your, simple knife to have. This, you can never have too many knives, I feel, in a camping atmosphere, so that'll come in handy for sure. I love it. Thank you, Dad. And the final thing, I went over there and saw him today, and he was like, have you ever had a Leatherman? I said, well, I had the little squirt, because that's what I had. I had one of those little tiny ones. He's like, oh, well, here you go. Now you've got an actual Leatherman. My goodness gracious. But this thing, I've never had one. Like, I get it. It's multi-tool, basically, but this thing is super impressive. And one thing that's cool that I did not know, let's see if I can remember where it is. Like, it's got everything. It's got pliers, the knives, the files, the saws, all of the traditional stuff that Leathermans have. Oh, dang. Where was... Oh, yeah. It's on the bottle opener, I think. Yeah. Okay. So this is the bottle opener. And what is crazy cool that I didn't know is this little part right here is a wire stripper. What? I'm going to be installing so much electrical in this van. Like, I've got an actual proper set of wire strippers with the gauges and everything on it. But just like in a pinch to have, I thought that was super cool. So yeah, again, thanks, Dad. That's awesome. The van is getting kitted out before we even have the van. I really hope it comes back from that inspection positive without any problems. There's going to be problems. He's going to find issues for sure. I just hope it's nothing that will be deal breaking, because it's a good deal. So yeah, to go back to what I said earlier about me doing a little bit of series of making of my van life, I want to try making a dinner tonight that I would be able to do in the van. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna make myself up some tacos tonight. So give me a minute. I'm gonna clean up the kitchen, because damn. And we'll walk through that process. All right, talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, so we are testing out a meal that will be cookable in the van, keeping in mind the van will have to have an air vent for this because it's tacos. And yes, it's tacos in the North American sense, not actual traditional tacos. I'm fine with that. Mexican food's like my favorite meal. So I hope to be doing a lot of that in the van, but I figured I'll just start basic tonight to see what works. So of course, ground beef, I'm cooking for one. I always cook this amount for two, and that was always too much. So maybe I'll just have to do a quarter anyways. Regular ground beef, because lean ground beef just doesn't have the same flavor in my opinion. Sour cream, of course. I usually make my own seasoning from scratch with stuff like, you know, like chili powder and paprika and what the, oh, she took a lot of the spices. Huh, all right, well, I didn't say she could take everything. So anyways, we're just gonna use the pre-made taco spice tonight. Sour cream, of course. Tortillas, probably only gonna need 2 of these tonight, maybe 3, I am pretty hungry. This isn't something I normally do. I've never done this, but I saw this red hot thick sauce at the store, and I was like, I usually would make this extra spicy, so I figured we'll just try this and see. So who knows? And then of course, cheese. I usually prefer to get blocks of cheese and shred it myself, but again, as simple as possible. We're not gonna need that. It's gonna be salty enough. And then I like to put a few of these in my taco. I'm just kidding. So this is all the stuff that we're gonna use tonight. And I know if somebody, probably a family member, is gonna be like, Matthew, that's great, but what are you, 11 years old? It's meat and cheese. So fine, we'll have some vegetables in there as well. Bag salad. Okay, lighting in here is terrible, although at least it's not as yellow as it was last night. First things first. Number pain! Oh, I forgot to point out in my little running through the ingredients, I'm gonna be cooking it in just a cast iron pan, right? So it's another reason why I'm going with the regular ground beef. I've tried to season this thing, probably, this thing is old. I've tried cleaning it and seasoning it a bunch, like, you know, the way with you put oil in it and then put it in the oven for an hour at 400 degrees or whatever. And it just kept coming out spotty, so I figured, screw it, I'll just try cooking in it. So this morning I did bacon, and tonight we're gonna do the beef. And if I'm being completely honest, I will probably eat tacos for the next 2 or 3 nights. I'm a savage. But yeah, hopefully that'll just help coat it, because I'm just gonna wipe it out, right? And then it'll just hopefully set up itself. So yeah, and this is simple, right? So it's just one pan in the van. But this is why I was saying I'm gonna need a vent. The stove I'll be using is just one of those like camping propane stoves, and those things they heat up really fast, and there's usually not a lot of heat regulation. So I'm gonna be spoiled tonight, because with the stove I'm using, obviously I can regulate the heat. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Oh look, my daughter's bib. This is the one bib I asked to keep because I just thought it was freaking awesome. And I'm not even I'm not a DC guy, I'm a Marvel guy, but that is an awesome bib. And she looks adorable in it. So I think I'm gonna do half of this. So so the pan's cold, it's not on at all. Oh, yeah, and this is great too, right? Metal on a cast iron, not a great idea, but my wooden utensil for this sort of stuff, can you guess where it is? My fault. Okay, so now let's see, I'm gonna go low on this stove, this POS stove. I'm just gonna go to 3 for now and see what happens. I did the bacon this morning on 3 and it took forever to catch heat, and I had to go to 4, and then it did finally start sizzling. But the whole idea with this cast iron right now, I feel like this sort of stuff, if I did it too hot too fast, it would be sticking to the pan. So I'm gonna go really slow to help you sort of cook the fat out of the meat, right? So then the meat will cook in its fat as opposed to the pan. Yeah, that's just logical cooking, I guess. Ooh, maybe I should try a time lapse and see what happens. Oh, hey, I wonder if that time lapse worked. I don't know, I'll check it out after. So this is pretty much browned up now. This is the point where you would put the seasoning in, and of course you would normally drain this out, right? And then the normal instructions are, add a little bit of water and then the seasoning mix. It's on the back of that seasoning packet that I got. But I'm trying to build up the layer on the cast iron. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna throw the seasoning in, probably half the pack because it's only half the meat, and go from there. Because the whole goal here is to make some delicious tacos but also get that greasy layer on the pan, right? So maybe disgusting, but I think it's gonna be delicious. So right now it's at about 4.5 on my oven. So I gradually turned it up. I think that took about, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe a little longer. Which normally when I'm cooking in like my electric frying pan, doing ground beef, come on, 3 to 4 minutes, it's brown. Which might not be a good thing either, because I really like cooking, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the slower things are cooked, the better they usually taste. So, set in a C. And here's the other thing too. So like, yeah, I make my seasoning myself. That's what I've been doing lately anyway, from all the different spices. That's all this is, right? If I go back here and read the ingredients, I ripped the ingredients. It's all stuff that I do anyway, but I don't know what it is. It's the secret brainwashing ingredient in the old El Paso taco spice pouch. Smells so much better and tastes better. Like there's a discernible difference between the way your beef tastes when you season it with this versus just like my regular spices, which you can't see there. They're up there. So yeah, the only thing that concerns me now, like this is all well and good that we slowly got the cast iron up to heat and got this beef cooked. It's not going to be the way it is in the van, so maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Or maybe I'll just go get the camp stove and actually try it here. Because I'm thinking it would have to be like an alternating situation of on the burner, really, really hot, and then take it off the burner of the camp stove until it stops sizzling, put it back on, because I'm telling you, my camp stove, it's one of those Coleman green ones, runs off the tiny propane tanks. It gets hot fast. Heat down. I'm gonna let it sit a bit. I'm pretty sure I let it simmer. Let me figure a way to get out of here. I've got no, I got no dishware. Man, I didn't think this through. Okay. I just feel like this is a regular cooking show. Get rid of that. Is this? I'm a guy, I had to try. Anyway, how does that look? I'll put this here. So this is gonna be my plate because I don't have any other cutlery, which is just ridiculous. That's not the best angle. Let me see if I can find a better angle. Okay, that's a little better. This is propped up on a giant bag of cat food, so at any moment, it could just go. Great, we're alone in the house hearing noises. Perfect! Okay, we'll put that in a grocery bag. Put these tortillas. Oh no, I put the sour cream back in the fridge. Because I'm weird about that. Right. Do I have a spoon? I do have a spoon. Wow. Perfect. Thanks, Brooklyn. Your dad appreciates you letting him use the spoon you left behind from your lunch today. This is awesome. Okay. Yeah. What a waste of sour cream. Oh my God, is that too much sour cream? Never. Here's a fun fact. Most people like soft tacos, and that's what I'm doing tonight, but I actually prefer hard shell tacos. Fun fact about me. And in there, you usually layer it. It's usually like meat, cheese, lettuce, sour cream. With a soft taco, there are no rules. All right, let's see how this goes. I've got so much meat here. Yeah, half was overkill. Damn it. Ah, fine. This is going to be far too large. No, I'm not doing it. Is that carrot? Ooh, this could be interesting. And then, of course, oh, did I not prep it properly? I ripped the label off. No, sad day. So this is just Frank's Red Hot. It's just the original hot sauce. But it's got like the consistency of ketchup. So that's really cool. I can already tell I'm gonna love this and wonder why I haven't been doing this my entire life. Well, I mean, this is also new, so I would have to have used the really runny stuff. Ho, 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 buddy. Look at that. That looks pretty good. Let's go eat some tacos. So I do like this with the whole cutting board thing here because, again, well, I've got camping gear, that I will use. It's simple, right? It's not a bunch of I didn't clean the sour cream off. Oh, sour cream. I didn't clean the sour cream off that little dollop that fell in the corner of the cutting board, and now it's on the desk. All right. That's that Frank's Red thick sauce. Perfect. This is delicious. So if I can replicate this in the van, oh, buddy. Hell yeah. Okay. I am going to go enjoy my tasty dinner, watch some New Girl on my laptop, because laughter really is the best medicine. I shit you not.
To whom it may concern.
To whom it may concern. These need to have personal details. My mom is going to check them.
All right, then give me the guest list.
Where have you imagined that I've been holding on to the guest list for all these years? Just carrying it around in my wallet? This is impossible.
This is going to take some serious detective work.
I was trying to find the best light. I was like, just screw it, just hit record. Well, that was a eventful time having those tacos. I ended up having 3. I also spoke to my cousin over text. We are going to be grabbing a beer on Wednesday. Today's Monday. So that was awesome. Thank you, Lindsay, if you're watching. I'm looking forward to that. And baby mama called with a FaceTime with the baby, which was awesome. She's like going to be walking any day, but it really hit me, right? Like, I know she's making those phone calls to like, have me stay in touch with the kid, but it's hard, man. It's really hard. So it's like one of those things that's so bittersweet. I want space. I want to be able to process and get over the breakup, but I want to see our baby, right? Like, it's hard. But anyway, sorry. I didn't think I was going to cry or I wanted to start recording. I had a little cry already. Whatever. Making of van life. So this is now officially a series. This is day 2, right? We're moving forward towards positivity in our life. Oh, and that time lapse turned out great, I think. I'll be using that a lot more. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Oh, and I actually was able to check this out. Oh, I can't flip while it's recording. That's all new to me. I put the Leatherman to use. I took off the base of the dishwasher here because right now the spring is broken. And it's actually broken. It's snapped in half. I've got half of it out here. The other half is like buried way under there. You can't see that. So gotta dig that out. I went down to Trail Appliance today just to try to say I need a spring for my dishwasher. And of course, I should have known better. He's like, what's the model? What's the model number? I was like, I don't know. It's a Frigidaire. He's like, yeah, but there's multiple models. We need the actual model. It's like, why can't you just have a universal spring? Ugh. Anyway, that's a task for, well, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Because I want to leave this place in as good a condition as I can. Maybe I'll run down a little bit more of the apartment and the ins and outs of what I have to do tomorrow. And we should find out if we will be moving into a Chevy Express Extended tomorrow. Yeah, I'll let you know how the 77-point inspection goes. So, awesome. Until then, have a good night. Uh-oh. I need my knife. Good morning. So, jet oil seems to have worked pretty well. I am letting it steep right now. I pressed it down. It's weird. I'm pretty sure I had my old French press, I didn't plunge it down right away. But from the little diagram instructions that came on the Jetboil box, it said, you know, boil the water, add the coffee, stir it up, plunge it, and then leave it for 3 minutes. So I'm keeping my eye on the clock, and we'll give this a shot. But yeah, that was super simple. It's very fast, hence the name Jetboil. So living up to its name, that's awesome. And I'm so excited. Today we take the van in. So I am gonna let that steep. I'm gonna make myself some breakfast, probably bacon and eggs again, keep working on that cast iron, and I will check back in once I got the van. Let me turn that down. So we're in the van. I'm still at the lot. I'm just about to rip it up the hill to the mechanic for its inspection. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about the van right now because I don't wanna get my hopes up. If it comes back and it's a total POS, then I don't want to have wasted too much time. So check back in a second. Van has been dropped off. There she is. Man, it's a nice day out today. Okay, so yeah, it's getting an inspection here at Get Wrenched Auto. I've been coming to this guy for years. If you are ever in the Calgary area and you need work done on your vehicle, I highly recommend them. They are awesome. Mechanic's name is Dean. Service advisor's name is Cassandra. They're brilliant. So let's give a little quick look at the van here. Like I said, I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it. It's a Chevy Express, and it is the extended version, right? Which I think is essential if we're gonna be converting it into our home. There's hail damage on it, and it's got these crazy roof racks that are rusting and leaking rust down onto the top of the roof. I'm hoping that that hasn't compromised the paint of the van, and I'll be able to clean that up, and I'll just pull those bars off, grind them down, hit them with some Rust-Oleum, and we should be good to go. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe this will be the one. We'll find out this afternoon. I am now going to walk back down to the lot, get my car, and go do some running around. So we'll talk later. Here we go. We're gonna go do some running around. I think I'm gonna go get that part for the dishwasher now that I have the model number. And we will wait for the mechanics to call. I am in my mother's, I don't even know what year this is, Buick. It's kind of a clown car, but these things are agile as all get out. I don't poo-poo it anymore in the all-wheel drive. Top notch. Okay, so that was a day. Let's get down to brass tacks. I got the vehicle inspection back. It didn't take them that long. I think they had it for 2.5 hours, so that's pretty good. And this guy, Dean, he's awesome. So, I mean, it's honestly not as bad as I thought it was going to be or could have been. I don't really know what I was thinking, but obviously I was thinking like the absolute worst, that instead of like an actual detailed inspection, he would have just said, no, do not buy this van. But of course, in the interest of him actually making a profit, I paid for this inspection, and so I got it back. Everything looks good, except for a few key things that will definitely need to be attended to. So it's like one of those traditional checklists with the green, yellow, red. The only red that came back was the air conditioning belt. It's cracked. And Dean noted that it's it just says belts, he noted AC belt. So that's not so bad. That's like a $14 part, big deal. But then it also has, we said dirty air filter, whatever, that's irrelevant. The brakes. So the brakes are an issue. Basically, the brakes just need to be done all around on the van. When I was test driving it, I immediately, that's the first thing you notice, because you know your first instinct is usually, well, you have to put your foot on the brake to shift, right? This thing just sponges right to the floor. Like, brick. Okay, so I drove it, and then stopping, it's very delayed stopping. If you drive a lot, you adapt to it quite quickly, but still very noticeable. So like I figured, well, maybe there's air in the lines or something. There probably still is air in the lines, but Dean noticed that front pads are 65% worn, rear pads are 75% worn, but the calipers are seizing, brake pedal is low, right? So that's all across the board. And the front hardware is rusted and the back hardware is rusted. Like when I talked to him about it, he said that these Chevy cargo vans, the brakes could actually last for like 150,000 kilometers if they're maintained, if they get the regular maintenance on them, right? Like brakes are regular maintenance stuff. People don't, it's just something that people ignore, just like changing your oil. Don't do that. Change your oil, get your regular maintenance done. Your vehicles will last a lot longer than you think. So yeah, that was his thing, you know, and this thing was probably, it was probably a painting company that owns it. There's a lot of like paint splatter inside and on the door rims and whatnot. And that roof rack was probably perfect for like ladders and whatnot. So obviously they just didn't really care about the brakes. Needs a new air filter, said that. He noted that the front and rear shocks will probably need to be done at some point. They got the yellow tick. I mean, everything's gonna have to be done at some point. Engine spark plugs need to be done. Oh, he did say, yeah, brake fluid is low. There you go, right there. See, it's very thorough. I'm glad. I think it was worth it. What am I missing here? He noted things I already knew, like one of the headlights is cracked. Yes, that's fine. Apparently one of the airbag sensors was installed upside down and it's zip tied to a line. Cassandra showed me a photo that Dean took. And yeah, so like, I don't know where on the vehicle it is. I'm not too familiar with this engine bay yet. But there was like the factory airbag sensor, and then right beside it, there's another one identical, but it's upside down and zip tied, and that's the one that's connected to the actual airbags. Dean, when I asked Dean about it himself, he was just like, yeah, whoever installed this was an idiot. So I don't know if I would actually need a new one or if you could just fix that. I got a quote for a new one. That'd be like $330. It's the most expensive part. That's ridiculous. There's something with the transmission fluid, but that's not on here, which was weird. But he noted that, these were his actual notes. Something odd with driver's hood hinge, seems loose. Right rear barn door inside hinge loose from body. Wiper blades worn, engine oil was low, transmission fluid was dark, so it basically needs a transmission fluid flush and fill. AC belt cracked, transmission cooler lines were wet. Now, he said they're just wet on the outside. Not that they were leaking, but the cooling lines going into the transmission were wet, condensation basically, right? Which isn't great, of course, but he said that that wouldn't be a pressing thing in his opinion. Airbag sensor installed incorrectly. Idiot. He didn't write idiot. Then the brakes, hail damage, which we knew, headlights, spark plugs worn, air filter dirty. So I had Cassandra write me up a as close to accurate estimate. It's late. And even on here, she forgot the AC belt. But to get most of that stuff done straight through, get wrenched, it's going to be about $2,500 and change, right? So none of that was deal breaking, right? So, okay, I thought about it. And I even knew right off the hop, like, so the first thing I want to do is brakes, right? Because that's like safety. If you can't stop, that's one of the worst things in a vehicle, like the tires and the brakes. His price for brakes, quite expensive. RockAuto.com is a great website in Canada. I don't know, I'm assuming it ships to the States. Maybe it has its own United States branch, but the website I go on, it's all Canadian dollars. And immediately I was able to find like parts on there that will be cheaper. And they seem to be just as, if not better than whatever he would probably get. So I'd save a little money there. Anyway, I took this back. I went back to the lot. I keep wanting to say dealership, but it's not a dealership. It's just a used car lot, like the ones you don't really want to deal with. And the gentleman that I had been speaking with and talking to about this van right from the get-go, Danny, he had gone home for the day. So I brought the plate in and the key in, and the gentleman, you know, there's two other guys there. They said, oh yeah, Danny's gone for the day. But they were super curious. Obviously, everybody knew that I had taken this van for an inspection, and maybe it's not something that normally happens, but they were kind of like itching to know what that was. So the younger guy was like, oh, what did it say? And I ran down the list with him, just like I did with you, a lot faster, obviously. I said, yeah, it's gonna be about $2,500 to like get it up to snuff. And then I was just like, yeah, I guess I'll just give Danny a call tomorrow and make him an offer. And the old guy was like, well, what did they find? What did they find? And I rattled it all off. And you know, this old guy, which he's probably the owner, this crotchety old little man. He's like, that's all maintenance. We don't do maintenance. We only take care of safety. We're not going to do that. I was like, I don't want you to do any of this. I would get the van and I'll take care of this. That's fine. I'm just going to make Danny an offer. At the time, I didn't say it, but in retrospect, I should have said, well, airbag sensor and brakes kind of fall under the realm of safety. But anyways, he's like, well, what are you going to offer Danny? And like an idiot, I said, oh, you know, shoot him this amount. He's like, no, we're not going to do that. So just shut me down. It's just his attitude was so crass. Like, number one, I've never talked to you. You haven't been part of this deal at all. And now you're just saying, no, that's what makes me think he's probably the owner. So that was disheartening and very frustrating, just ridiculous. Like, okay, even if you don't like my offer, counter, right? I lowballed for sure. I'm willing to pay way more than what I offered, but he didn't even counter. He just said no. So which means like it leads me to believe, well, one, he's a piss poor businessman. And number two, it kind of feels like no matter what I offer, I'm gonna get pushback and they're just gonna want asking price. So that's that. I'm glad we got it done. It's definitely good to know. I highly recommend if you're in the market for a used car, if they will let you take it and you've got a mechanic that you trust, definitely get it done because this was really nice to have. Whether I get the van or not, I mean, obviously, I hope I get it because there's not a lot out there else right now. I'm glad I paid for this, 150 bucks. That's not that much for like peace of mind and going for it. And then all you told Dean, obviously, be exclusively working with him to get this bad boy up to snuff. So I'm going to call Danny tomorrow and see what he says. And maybe he'll tell me no as well. And then we'll go from there. So that's it for now. That was, what's today? March 2nd. So it's 3 nights now. Doing pretty good, you know, getting by. Was able to see the little girl a lot today, which was awesome. And now I'm just going to finish up the night. I'm going to try to install that spring, be done with that dishwasher, do a little bit more cleaning, tearing down, packing up, and yeah, see what tomorrow brings. So, I might have done a thing. We got the van. They finally got back to me. Actually, no, they didn't get back to me. I called the gentleman that I had been dealing with, and I made him an offer a little higher than the one I had originally offered, the crotchety old guy on the lot. He countered, I countered again. He said, let me call you back, let me talk it over. And he did. He called me back like in 3 minutes, and he accepted my offer, and that was a done deal. And to their credit, they didn't even, as a used car lot, there was no BS fees or anything. It was the amount plus tax, and that was it. So that is awesome. So it's March 3rd. That is the official day that I became the owner of the van. Obviously I had plans to do a whole video about it today, but the day has gotten way on me. I need to go meet my cousin in like an hour and a half for beers. I'm currently doing another round of tacos. So yeah, I will be getting into it tomorrow. What's going on? You believe that? I bought a van and the door just shut behind me. Come on, let's take a look.
Do you remember me? We haven't talked in a while. How you used to dream before you gave up your smile. When you were young and free, built castles in the air. I wanted to find you, I'm here to remind you, no matter how hard it gets, the years and the tears you spent are worth it all. It's worth
So that is the new van. So as I said before, it is a 2007, where am I looking every time? It's a 2007 Chevy Express extended wheelbase, 2500. There, that'll get a little bit better. So yeah, let's take a quick peek on inside. I'm not gonna do a huge tour with you or anything. It literally is just what it is. It is a cargo van, right? Lots of space. I'm pretty sure they were drywallers. It's pretty obvious, right? The dust and whatnot that's everywhere. At first I thought they were painters. I'm not thinking that anymore. This interior would be a lot worse off if it was being used by a paint company. So I'm pretty sure it was drywall, so it's not so bad. I'm pretty sure with this wood shelving that they installed, I'm gonna remove it, but then try and repurpose it and use it in the build, right? One of the first things I'm gonna have to do, get this bulkhead out of here. I was just gonna toss it, and then my buddy said, don't toss it, throw it on Kijiji, try and sell it. Even if $100, someone will probably buy it. 2 things you do every time you buy a new car, especially if it's used. Number 1, take it to the car wash.
the tears you spent
start the process of making it feel like mine. The second thing you have to do when you get your own vehicle, it's not yours until you wrench on it. We're gonna do a full, proper oil change.
Don't sleep, just bring it to life. Work through the night, give it some time. Oh, the future is bright. Don't turn away, 'cause you're gonna break through, child. No matter how hard it gets, the years and the tears you spent are worth it all. It's worth it all. Don't have to live with regrets. Look up and lift up your head and stand up tall. Stand up tall. Don't sleep on your dreams. No. Don't sleep on your dreams.
Oh, I'm so excited. Everything is just looking up so much. I'm so excited to get cracking on this thing, make it my own. Like, I've got ideas about what I want to do in terms of, like, let's say, like, you know, power there, kitchen here, bed here, water here, and all of that, and garage at the back, obviously. But like most things in my life that I create, I can guarantee you, as I start this process, that stuff is all going to change. So I'm not going to plan it out too much, just a general idea. And yeah, that's about all it is for that. I gotta name it. I don't know what I'm gonna name it. Hopefully I named it. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, let's see if I can actually do this. I just looked at this filter with my buddy, and it was a little bit obnoxious to get out of here because, like most of these engines on these vans, they're very compacted, right? Everything's so tight, it's gonna be a bit of a bee to do any sort of self-maintenance on this thing. We're still gonna try. This isn't, well, I mean, this is routine maintenance. It's not so much mechanical, it's just the air filter. We're gonna get it in there, and then this just comes off and the filter's inside here. But the problem is, right here, I don't know if you can see that, this shroud is banging up against whatever part this is, so I kind of have to lift this whole part up and pull it out. So I can't do that while I'm holding this. Get that back where it was. Let's see how it goes by myself here. Oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. Not so bad at all. Definitely made that seem like it was gonna be way harder than it is. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Look at this air filter. What? Like, hello, nice and clean. So I guess this is just, yep, there you go. And she's back in there. All right. And same thing here. Weird part on the bottom gets in the way as well. There we go. Mike, if you're watching, hopefully, you know how long we struggled with that for? Ridiculous. Woo-hoo. Perfect. First maintenance on the van completed. Oh, I kind of miss doing stuff like this. That was the problem with having the Tacoma. It was so new that I didn't really do anything on it. I did change the oil once and rotate the tires, but for the majority of the time that I had that vehicle, it just got all of its service done at the Toyota dealership. So being back underneath here, figuring this stuff out is quite interesting. So this is gonna be easy peasy. Hopefully I don't have to be at an angle because my ramps are buried in the boat right now. So, oh yeah, I almost forgot the most important step when you're working on a car. This stuff is a necessity. I just happened to find one left over in the garage. One. It was like it was meant to be. I think when Dean said that the oil in this was low, I think that was a generous understatement because, let's see here. Okay, well, there's almost one of these, looks like. But depending on how low it actually is right now, we'll see. So it's not bad. Always check your oil, do the regular maintenance. All right, I'm gonna clean up. Ha! We're back in the yellow tone room. Whatever, we won't be here for long. So that was a successful day as far as I'm concerned. Hey, look at this. Hi, Stella. Hi, kitty. Is she in the van videos? She's an older kitty. So the plan and intention is to have her there. Has she been there yet? Look at the kitty. You don't even know. Don't worry. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure you're good. I'll make sure you're good. I won't talk about her too much. I'm sure I probably already have. Keep it. You know what I noticed in watching my videos throughout the day? I do this a lot. So that was the day. I mean, this is the day after I got the van. The first day officially of purchasing the van on the bill of sale is March 3rd, 2021. This might be it. This might be the end of the making of my van life videos because we did it. We got the van. Van life can officially begin. Right? What did we do today? We did an oil change. We changed the air filter. We changed the windshield wipers. We gave it a car wash. And I also ordered a bunch of stuff online that it needs, that Dean came back with, that it needs those brakes. It needs new spark plugs. That's where I started. So that stuff, I ordered online, a bunch of those parts. They should be here by mid next week to late next week. So if this is the last making of my van life video, thanks for coming along with me. It's been a transition in my life. I am so excited for the next chapter of my life. It's going to be exciting, full of adventure, full of challenge, and full of, like, hopefully just positivity and warmth. And, you know, all things that are good in the world and what we should actually be focused on. So thank you for watching these last few videos of how I got to where I hopefully am. And I will talk to you guys in whatever video comes next.